Alright, hello and welcome back everyone. This is David, aka Faramir4731. I'm bringing you a matchup on the Finland map of 4v4. Here I'm going to be playing as France. I'm going to be playing in the middle top section of the map as my troops make it forward. Up on the top is going to be played by Tap Artist, another one of my clanmates. Here in the middle bottom of the map playing Britain is Rock 2.0, and as France at the very bottom is going to be Gunny playing as France once again. So here on the top, on the opposing side, is going to be Eno playing as America. Playing as Austria is going to be Blackjack, and as he marches slowly up, and as Prussia is going to be MTS, and at the far bottom is going to be playing as Spain. Vallejo, I can't pronounce the name. It starts with a V. We'll just call him V. The V Spain. Okay, and then up here on the top is where the action is going to start pretty intense right off the bat. So it's going to start off pretty much as a cav engagement, and we're just going to exchange fire. And Ina's going to end up losing one of his goonies, and I'm going to take a shot and knock a few down off another, but he's going to exchange with one of his lines and get a few of my goons as well. So, up here, this action is going to be hotly contested extremely rapidly. You see Eno's already got his art set up just off the downslope of the hill. And you can see his Minutemen taking their position, and they're exchanging light fire on the far extreme flank. And you can see on my very front I have 3 militia units. I'm going to use them as a screening force here in the beginning of the stages. And here, at, like I said though, at the top, most of the action is going to take place between me and artist positions. So that's where most of the first part of this video will take place. Alright, so you can see Blackjack is pushing up his Austrian force, but right now I've got the ability to shoot up this line that's on the extreme of Eno's flank. Took the fire initially by my militia, so my 2 lines can come forward and start taking shots. And I still did get some fire with my militia as well. And you can see he's pushing up now. He being Blackjack is pushing up pretty fast on me. Eno's line didn't take an extreme amount of damage because he's in that little foresty area that does seem to be very protected quite well in that spot. Alright, so here in this forest it is going to be quite messy with just bloodshed, mayhem, just all kinds of craziness is going to take place. You can see smoke, fire, burning leaves. Yeah, it's pretty rough. And this blue guard right here is going to be the brunt of some very devastating grenade action. And you can see Eno's got his militia shielding his grenadier right there, and he's chunking those grenades right at close range. The first volley didn't do much, but this second volley is going to be explosive. So, yeah, he's going to just keep chunking grenades right on that blue guard. So, tough to see that blue guard take that much damage. He's trying to push that blue guard through to the grenadiers, but it's hard to see. You know, I'm zoomed in right now after the battle, but in the battle you can't really zoom in that close to see if you're in melee with the grenadiers or not. Trust me, I know, because I've been in this same situation getting the shit grenaded out of me. So anyways, here on the bottom you can see that I've pushed all my militia way extreme forward, and I'm doing that to kind of screen myself off, like I said, and I've been able to take some shots with all 3 of my militia on his Grinzer that was right there in the front. If you look at the bottom, he's pushing that other Grinzer down into the Valley of Death to probably try to lay stakes, which is something people typically do. Now MTS is bringing 2 of his Prussian Cav dragoons, light dragoons up here to shoot up my militia on their way back, and he's already taken a shot, and he sees me bringing all 4 of my goons down, so he's going to back out of that fight. And this is something I kind of anticipated, but if he didn't, I still feel like I can screen those off, because my true intention is going after these Grinzers and just lighting them up, because oh my god, that was just devastating charge downhill on them, and they don't want to stick that one out, and I don't blame them, as they get double charged. So now I'm going to pull my Cav back out of that engagement. Here you can see the fighting on the top still is just intense as hell. Grenades flying, shrapnel shot from howitzers flying. I mean, it's all on. So here, yeah, that's just brutal. Okay, so now his grenadiers are pushing up, trying to throw some more grenades, but Artist isn't having it. He's pulling his units out of there. He does get them out in time. All right, and most of his units are blocked up here on the top of the hill, as he's trying to push his grenadiers to exchange the favor Eno gave to him. Meanwhile, on the bottom, you can see things are just a total mess going on. So now I'm trying to provide some help to the top with Artist. So I'm sending 3 of my Cav units up to the top of the hill, so we can try to dispatch these 2 dragoons that Eno sent through, and he sent them through in a real stretch formation. So yeah. So a couple things are going to happen really rapidly here. Obviously, Blackjack is pushing his Austrians on me in full force, and I'm gonna have 3 line units right here, and they are just going to lay down their volley fire, and then I am going to pull them out of there as soon as that happens. But of course, I get ate up by all the fire, and you can see the Spanish dragoons on the flank shot into me, as well as MTS's Prussian dragoons as well. But while that's happening, I see an opportunity to push my goons through, and I know I'm probably going to lose all 3 of these, but this is a great opportunity to take out this artillery. And what happened is he laid his stakes wrong, the wrong direction, so this leaves a perfect opportunity for me to knock out his artillery. So again, I know I've already got Rock's dragoons up here to help me, and I've already, used my dragoons pretty effectively at this point, and I figured this was a good opportunity to take. So I did it, and you can see here now I am rolling back my 3 lines, and as well as Rock is rolling back his lines. We're going back behind my Bulkleys, and I'm pulled my art out at this point, so my art crew is off the guns, and I pulled them off so that when this mess clears up, because I'm pretty confident I can win this. Most of his forces are at the bottom, which are going to be unsupported by Eno, and he is getting support from MTS and his Prussians, but still, at the bottom is where most of his fire is concentrated with his dragoons. So my units at the bottom of the hill are going to take the most fire and get pretty much knocked out the quickest. But at the top of the hill, I'm exchanging that favor. As you can see, I already routed out one of his militia, and I've charged into his Grinzers and another line unit he had up on the top. And I've thrown everything I got into melee, because I've got this better attack melee, and he doesn't have great defense melee, does the Austrians. So I know I can win this fight quicker versus being in a fight with guards. With a line fight, shooting it out, I feel like I can do better in melee. So I do, and I push my guys in, and it's pretty much just we thought the top was a mess. This is absolutely a mess. So you can see at the top I'm really winning pretty fast, and this is going to give me a huge advantage, because I can keep charging downhill into him. And you can see he's bringing his goons up, and he's actually getting a little bit more effective shots. But here at the top, things are just, I mean, the armies are just melting away. You know, I think that my army's melting away at the bottom, and so is Blackjack's, but man, up at the top, I mean, they're down to the nitty-gritty up there, and it's pretty on the wire. So here, what happened is I actually misclicked with my lights, you can see, and yeah, that's going to cost me bad here in a minute. But I was trying to target his lights. I mean, I'm sorry, not his lights, but his dragoons. And I ended up pushing forward right into these Grinzers. So I'm trying to use one of them to shoot the Grinzers, but they're stretched to the extreme. So I'm not going to really do much damage on them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to force all my lines that were in melee and push them into these dragoons. And that's going to disrupt everything that he's got in the center, and it's going to pretty much collapse the Austrian position. So here you can see all of them mass routing out now, just by making that move. And my two lights are going to be charged by his general and one more dragoon. And this is kind of a mistake. Rock does see this pretty quickly, comes up to assist him, but also my lights in that formation are going to hold pretty good, and I can continue to shoot them. So here you can see later on, after that mess is cleaned up, I was moving my lights down to help protect on that bottom flank. As you can see, all the Austrian lines have completely routed out. I think he's got one line that's left, and MTS brought his Prussians over here. Oh, that was a good shot too by Rock's artillery. And now my lights are away from the stake line enough that his dragoons there are going to be effective. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to the top of the hill to help Artist. But MTS, you can see here, Artist did take out Eno's artillery with his general, and MTS brought his dragoons around to shoot his general down. So that's how Artist lost his general. Yeah, so now it's, like I said, excuse me, I'm getting choked up here, a little verklempt. But my whole goal here is to get my lines up to support Artist. Because if I can get my lines on that hill, we can sweep Eno in and out of this game extremely rapidly. But the problem here is that Valeo's, or like I said, I can't pronounce the name. V's Spanish cav is going to provide me a lot of problems. But here, Gunny's cav comes in and just sweeps out Eno's long rifles. And them being right by the red line, they're gone. So I mean, that was a great move there to help Artist out. And here comes MTS's dragoons again, as my general charged into that last Austrian line, and now I'm going to charge into the last of the Spanish dragoons up at the top. There's two more still at the bottom, and they're going to come into play here in a little bit. But I do route out that Spanish dragoon, and MTS's dragoons are now going to go into my lines. It routes out one of my last two lines, so now I've just got one more bulkly with like 68 men left. And of course my artillery unit and my general, which is going to back charge this last Austrian unit, is going to send him a running. And we have knocked out everything that Austria had to offer, and now we are looking to do the same to Eno. And there goes the volley fire on Eno. It was a race to see who could shoot first between both of our exhausted men, and I won. Alright, so you can see the bloodshed that took place up here. I mean, there's bodies littered everywhere on this hill. I mean, it's just a mess. But yeah, I'm speechless on this. And then look at all the bodies right here and where my fight took place. I mean, it is like a graveyard. And yeah, so here, down here where the Grinzers are, man, you can see they just bit it there by themselves. Looks like he had a little brown stain there. I think he crapped his pants when my when my goons hit them. Alright, and guess what? That's just half the battle right there. And we still got 2 more full armies and a few men from my army and a few men from Artist's army left to fight this out. So, here we go. Okay, so you can see MTS's art is actually getting the better than my art is getting on them. As you can see, I'm making some hits, but just not killing a lot from my original art position. So you can see here, we have taken this flank, and you can see my general. What I was going to try and do was run my general into the to MTS's art to take that out, but V's Spanish Dragoon there sees what I'm doing, and he's going to cut me off at the pass. So I'm going to try to get out of that, but it's too late. And I should have coordinated that with Rock, so he could push all his Dragoons into his art while my general was pulling his Dragoons away, because he wouldn't be able to take on everything. But I just didn't think that far ahead, which I probably should have. But regardless, I'm going to lose my general here, and yeah, so that just went down. So now I've just got my one line, and you can see here there's an art position that Eno left, that Artist is going to take his men over and man, and I'm going to bring my art crew over to man the art crew that Blackjack left. So that being said, you can see here that Rock's men are pushed up on MTS, and they're having a skirmish fight there, but the stakes are pretty much blocking a lot of the shots there, so neither side is really gaining too much from that engagement. Now you can see I've now finally got my art crew on this artillery that was originally originally it was Blackjack's art. So now I've taken it over, so I've stolen their art. I'm an art thief now, and we're just gonna get a good volley here. So I wasn't doing good with my art, but now you can see I'm gonna target his wall and guards, and I get a good shot on him. I almost take out 20. So now I'm going to actually start getting some effective shots with that artillery, but I think like I said, I think we've kind of stretched ourselves a little thin here, as you can sometimes do as you're flanking somebody. You can leave yourself exposed in certain spots, and we're pretty thin all along our lines up here on the top, and this Spanish player is going to really take advantage of that, and he's doing that with 2 Dragoons and 2 guard units with the wall and guards, and he is going to, although Rock really did get off some great shots with his Dragoons. He only had 3 depleted Dragoons, but he actually knocked down one of his Dragoons to half strength, so that's really pretty good exchange there. He did lose the Dragoon that was the least populous of the 3 Dragoons that he had left, though. But now it's pretty much on. As you can see, we're exchanging artillery fire. MTS is shooting up the British lines right here, while I am targeting now the Prussian Jaegers. And I'm getting some pretty good shots on them, actually. And so I'm going to switch back and forth from my targets, from the wall and guards to the Jaegers, and here get some shots on the cabin. I'm not sure if that was my artillery doing that, or if it was Artist's artillery getting that shot in. But regardless, it was a pretty good shot there. So now you can see I've got my Bulkley over there. It's going to provide a little bit of shield for Rock's goons, but we're just outmanned on that flank, so we're going to end up in trouble over there pretty quickly. And you can see in the middle, it's you know, the battle has pretty much just started over there, so not a lot of bloodshed yet. And the ground is blocking a lot of the shots from the Jaegers and the Ferguson rifles, so they're neither one of them are effective. And here, don't be alarmed. You're not seeing lag. This is actually a full-on charge by my Bulkley being super exhausted. It was in super slow motion, exhausted speed. And here I figure, you know, heck, maybe I can get them downhill on these garde du corps. Spanish garde du corps coming in, so I'm going to throw my Bulkleys into them. And I only had 41 when this started, so against the full strength garde du corps, I'm not going to fare too well. But at least I do take them down, I think almost a half strength, so I think I did pretty good in there for a totally exhausted unit. But now the flank is completely busted, and Spain is going to be able to wrap that flank now. So he is going to be able to take out our art, and I think MTS has his general taking out my art. I'm not sure if it's happening right now or what, because it's off screen, but he is going to the Spanish player is going to take out artist's art up there that used to be Eno's. So yeah, all that's going down, and like I said, you can see it's just starting to become a battle of attrition here in the middle now, with the lines really starting to get into the gunfight. So Rock is actually a lot of several points of this I kept telling Rock to pull out of this because I thought he was outgunned, but he actually held in there pretty well, and really hats off to him because he stood in there and held his ground. And really, you can see Gunny did turn that flank in the center, and you, right here you can see he's going to lose his art to the Spanish general. But really, I mean, that's pretty much a non-factor at this point. But you can see Gunny did split the Spanish and the Prussian players apart here, and he just knocked out a Cazador, and he's going to put pressure on the rest of the Spanish player at the bottom of the flank. So here up at the top, you can see the Wallen Guards are now starting to become overextended themselves as they had wrapped the British lines back. So now those two Wallen Guards are pretty much left on their own. So where we were getting overextended, now they kind of in suit did the same. So Gunny's going to be bringing his lines out of the forest down on the Spanish player because he is now completely cornered, and he's going to be pushing up his lines that were front facing. He's going to push them up and get him completely boxed in here. So this battle is rapidly coming to a close, and it is looking better for us, as it was looking a little shady there for a little bit. But honestly, up here at the top, these Wallen Guards, they do take on these two full stacks of British lines, and they do a pretty good job. And there was another line too that already routed out, another British line. And Rock's going to keep folding back a little bit to kite those guards, but he's also, I think he's going to move Ferguson over, if I'm not mistaken, to help out with those guards. And you can see here Gunny throws a line into the Wallen Guards down here on this bottom flank, and that's going to allow him to shoot freely on them. So good job there. And he's got his militia in a militia on militia battle here at the bottom. And yeah, so it's like blue versus red here. So who's going to win, the blue pants or the red pants? Oh my god, that was a pretty devastating take down there. Alright, so there's really at this point the French just have too many lines to what the Spanish can do, and so he can just keep throwing a unit into melee here and keep his guards from shooting, and then the rest of his lines are militia. So I mean, the Spanish build that he has is kind of interesting because he does bring quite a few Wallen guards. But the rest of his units are militia for his lines, and you know, you're just not going to get a lot of balance from that. So once you've either taken away all of his militias, he's not going to have enough men to hold back any substantial force. But I mean, he does use this build pretty well, but I would just, you know, I don't. It's not a build I would prefer. But like I said, some people can use builds very, very good, and he definitely does use this build well. As you can see, his guard unit here is putting on a pretty good beating on these Bulkleys. So Gunny's going to use his line and throw his line into melee again to keep that guard from shooting, and then his Bulkley can get back to doing what Bulkleys do, taking out guards. Alright, so here they go. Okay, so back here to the top, you can see MTS was putting up a great fight, but he's thinning out, as well as these Wallen guards up here at the top. They're just under too much firepower. The Fergusons helped out, like I said, and I think that kind of helped turn the tide on the guards. Back to the red versus blue. The blue take the day. Did it with some pretty crazy moves too. Alright, so the Wallen guards here trying to stab their way to victory, but it doesn't look to be. So we will see what this vicious melee attack can do. Oh my gosh. Did he die? I think yeah, he got him. Good grief. Man, he knocked him off his feet, but he's getting back up. Kicked him in the balls, I think. He's like, son of a... But they are out of there. So the French take the day at the bottom, and our team wins. And you can see we're finishing off with a double firing squad here. Okay. Yeah, these two Prussian lines are completely surrounded. And this wraps it up, guys. So I hope you enjoyed this crazy good battle. I sure did. Thought it was a lot of fun. As you can see here, the results of the battle. And anyways, please leave a comment, like, and subscribe. And we will see you on the next video.